What that make her? She the God maker.
The creator of God. Yes, yes, yes.
Because when she had the baby, they named him Emmanuel.
Mm,
But they ain't tell you that they was telling you both of their story at the same time, Isis and Horus, as if it was one person.
yeah.
But when you read the dialogue, you can tell there's two different people speaking, at least in the words in red. They don't agree. They got different frames of thought. One talk like a warrior and one talk like a lover.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The mother is the lover. If you go to the scene, there's a scene of Mary laying on the steps. Uh, it's supposed to be the reenactment of Tammuz, right? This is what they incorporating in to the Christian doctrine in the Nicene Council as the imagery, iconography of the crucifixion.
Mm-hmm.
But ISIS, Jesus is ISIS. And the only one that was sitting on the ISIS seat during the contemporary period was Cleopatra. So the trick or treat moniker came from Europe,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was actually a prankster day from the
Yes,
Vandals.
yes.
It was the prankster day created by the Vandals. Remember, they used to tear shit up.
Mm-hmm.
They used to. That's why they. That's why vandalism is named after the Vandals,
Mm.
right? And so they had a custom when they call All Hallows Eve of playing pranks on people.
That's
So
wasn't
they,
that called
yeah,
the day before is called
Devil's Night.
yeah, where we throw eggs and everything like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right. So there was supposed to be designed to intimidate the people to give them a treat, or they gonna play a trick on them.
Mm.
And the trick used to come in many different forms. Burn shit on the porch.
Mm. That's foul. That's foul.
And
That's
they gonna come
cruel.
out and stomp it out.
Oh, oh, God.
The jack-o'-lantern is design ceremony, right? Original jack-o'-lanterns was more elaborate than they try to tell us. They try to tell us that the original jack-o'-lantern just had two holes poked in it with a candle in the
And,
pumpkin.
yeah, in the mouth,
Why
like
was you
picture that.
putting candles in pumpkins? Whose custom is that?
Mm.
Whose custom is it to put a candle in the pumpkin, and what is its purpose? See, we be forgetting that most of the culture that we had is still in practice. They just rebranded it so that when our genetic memory, we feel okay practicing our heritage,
That's right. That's right.
right? The pumpkin with the candle in it was the symbol for the bake off. You put the pumpkin up and let them know that okay, now it's time for everybody to come taste the pie,
Oh, okay.
right? So all of that is still part of native culture, but we've got it rebranded as modern pop culture.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But Halloween wasn't always an evil holiday, and neither was Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was, a, a big deal for us. It was the
Mhm.
harvest. We
Yes.
dividing up food to send them to different tribes from the harvest. And the turkey harvest was specifically for recognition of the new chief and his
Mm.
family.
I get chills when you say that. Yeah.
The turkey with his feathers flared out
Mm.
is the symbol for the full feather chief,
Mm.
right? The problem came in on Black Friday. That's when they slaughtered the natives that was feeding their ass, the settlers. Contrary to popular opinion, Paleface hadn't got here yet.
Who was doing the slaughtering?
These were the gents and the Huguenots and the Spanish conquistadors.
Mhm.
They were the original arrivals.
They were lethal too, the conquistadors. They were nasty. Mm.
The Huguenots wasn't no better.
Mm.
They was all the same people in different countries,
Hmm.
but they was all being exiled at the same time from all of the countries. It was called the Great Inquisition for a reason.
Mm.
And they was exiling them all out of Europe until they got a stronghold in the Franco-Swiss War.
Yes.
They ran and hid in Switzerland,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? The Switzerland, the Red Cross is designed to monitor the battlefield so that they'll know from the ground floor who gonna win. Because they paying for both sides. So they need to know who to give more money to.
Sounds like it's fixed. Yeah.
It is.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the Swiss is the only country that don't be in no wars ever
That's
since
right.
their last war was the Franco-Swiss War.
Hmm. Hmm. And then don't they have a treaty that gives them the ultimate like it's amnesty.
Neutrality.
Yeah.
It's the
And
neutrality. They neutrality is predicated up on the banks.
yes, because you Swiss banks. Remember, all my father was a banker, so we were knew about most people extraditing all their money into the Swiss banks, right?
Right. And then they made a UN pact to stop money launderers from using Swiss banks. So then they moved to St. Lucius and St. Croix.
That's right. On my father's island. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
So the money launderers is moving around. We got to remember the Federal Reserve headquarters was never in D.C. It was always in Puerto Rico.
That's right. I heard that a while ago. Yes, yes, yes.
That's the rich port.
Hmm.
When you talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, they talking about Puerto Rico. At one point in time, Puerto Rico, the colonizers had such a strong hold on it that they would bring all of their wealth they accumulated from North and South America and other islands on Puerto Rico, and they had vaults on the island. And none of the pirates used to steal the other pirate stuff as long as it was registered in Puerto Rico.
Mm.
This is where the salvage right financial arm is stretching out of Puerto Rico. Now we talk about all of this being ran by Switzerland, right? Do you know who the military that guard the Pope is called?
Um, no.
The Swiss Guard.
The Swiss guards. Okay. Okay.
That's right. So the Swiss Guard is the Pope's security team. They supply to him for free by Switzerland.
Mm.
Now,
That
why
sounds
would
familiar.
Switzerland give the only person in the world that the Swiss give security to from their military?
Mm.
Shit, I don't even know if they got protection on their prime minister,
But
but they got it on the Pope.
are they
Because
one and the same with the Jesuits, Rod? Are they kind
no,
of in sync? No, no. Okay. Okay.
no, they more closely related to the Templars.
Okay. Okay.
They all use the same symbols. The
Okay.
symbols tell you when they where they groups is clicked at.
Okay.
The Jesuits is the Order of Isis, the Brotherhood of the Order of Isis.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's why when you see their symbol, it got that big old IHS.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay. Okay.
that's right. So they her secret service, so to speak.
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
But we all being taught that the Jesuits is something entirely different than what they is.
Yeah, I assumed it was one and the same.
No, the Templars and the Jesuits actually fell out and had conflicts
I
during
see.
the Crusades.
Oh.
This is what made a lot of the Norsemen who were fighting on the side of the Vatican when it split happened. They left and joined seafaring Moors and became known as Vikings.
Ah, yes, yes, the Norsemen, yes.
Right. They started off as Templars,
Ah.
but they defected because they didn't agree with something the church was doing, probably eating babies and sucking
Mm.
little boys' wee wees.
Oh, get it, Rod. Tell him, Rod. Mm. I rebuke
But
you
they
all.
protested and they end up having clashes with between the Templars and the Jesuits. Then the Templars had a war conflict or whatever you want to call it with the Rosicrucians at one
Yes.
time,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then they had another conflict with the Masons,
Okay.
right? So they didn't fell out with everybody. The ones who became the Vikings, you know them today as Hell's Angels.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Like
interesting.
we just think that they're a bunch of crazy, drunk, tattooed up white boys on motorcycles. When Big Mama call, watch how they ride. That's all I'm gonna say.
Mm.
When Big Mama call, watch how they ride. They gonna blow our mind because they gonna be more of serious about her than we is, and she our Big Mama.
Wow. Wow.
Favors return, and there ain't no time limit on good deeds being repaid.
Hmm.
And they remember. They ain't like some of these other people that you do something for them and then they act like you ain't never did nothing for them and you owe them something
Hello.
because you got a little something.
Hmm. Hmm.
They ain't like that. That's why they always supposed to keep their business among themselves. They was authorized by the Queen Mother, the Mother Chapter, the Mother Charter, 13, to
Mm.
roam the land as a nomadic tribe. That's why outlaw tribes get crushed.
Wow.
If you going into that biker community, you got to make an alliance because they got a job to do. They just ain't been called to do it yet.
Wow.
And don't think they don't got truces with Larry Hoover, Jeff Ford, and others,
Mm.
right? We just a lot of the truces ain't fully on display right now because we trying to get rid of the old regime,
Hmm.
the deep state.
Hmm. So they haven't been
So
called to action yet. When they are, they show up.
yeah,
Interesting.
that's what they was talking about in Revelations when they was talking about the iron horses.
Ah,
On
oh my
a
God.
steel horse I ride,
Oh my God. I didn't.
wanted, wanted, dead or alive. We don't know all of the people
Yeah.
that we think is our enemies that been fighting our battles behind our backs because they wasn't allowed to fight them openly and win. You
Hmm.
got to adjust your strategy,
That's right.
right? Even
And
some of the hate groups was converted through logic.
mm,
You got a doctrine. Your doctrine teach you something. This ain't the old guessing age of before where you just had to believe. You can go check out what a mofo tell you now.
mm,
So when I tell you that it was about getting one drop of blood, they got their one drop of blood when they start realizing that, wait a minute, what am I talking about being a pure blood white boy and I ain't got no blonde hair and blue eyes? Something ain't right here.
mm. You might be mixing with them native indigenous Negroes now.
Where all of them octoroons, etc., that left the plantations go after so-called slavery
Mm,
when they all mass migrated to the north? Who they married?
that's true.
Because didn't nobody want to be this complexion.
No.
We were too dark.
Yeah. Copper
And we
color.
ain't even dark like we was back then.
No, no, no. We lightened up a little bit, but we
Yeah.
are copper color people, even though, they redefine people nowadays. And even though they say, people, are black, That's the terminology used. The people they were speaking about were copper colored and deep copper to our color copper. So it's
You
interesting
know,
that people forgot what the color copper looks like until you pull out a penny.
they why they refer to us as black, right? It's a chess term.
Oh,
We the ones defending the land. They the invaders.
mm,
They the white pieces on the chessboard,
mm,
right? So when we call out the black pieces to play the game, they call foul. We talking about your Black Panthers, your Black
mm,
Gorilla family,
mm.
your Black Leopard clan, right? We talking about your Black Eagle clan because this is the stealth priest of old Mississippians, the Black Wolf clan. Them the ones you call when you ain't got nobody left to call. That's the cleanup crew, and we here in mass cleaning up. The hard part about cleaning up is that they did such a hell of a job on our psyche. But
Yeah.
this is what made black become civilly mortis because they say they crashed the Mayflower. We crashed our landmass into the Mayflower. The Mayflower was originally called the good ship Plymouth.
Yes. Yes.
So this is why Malcolm said we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock
Further
landed
landed
on
on
us.
us. Hmm.
So they took us to the world court and sued us. So in order to assess the claim, they sent surveyors out. Surveyors was the first ones to charter a city. So when you want to look at the 13 colonies, who chartered it? Because soon as you find out who chartered it, then you know who the surveyor that England sent to charter the land, right? England won out over France and Spain for the Americas.
Hmm.
Spain had a stronghold for a couple hundred years in Central and South America and the islands. France had a couple of islands and a couple of territories in South America.
Hmm.
And when they lost two out of three conflicts. They had to evacuate.
Yep.
When they lost to Toussaint in Haiti, then they lost to Chief Pontiac at Bloody River Run. But in the history books, they tell you that they didn't lose,
No, they
but they
did.
lost.
Hmm.
And you know that they lost because they had to leave after that conflict.
That's right.
So when they was on the way out the door, they had signed treaties to protect the tribes of the land in the New Orleans territory, which became your Louisiana Purchase.
Hmm.
The New Orleans territory was the capital of the mainland. The unified capital of North America and South America was the empire called Haiti, right? And then you had another capital in South America. I think it was like around Bolivia somewhere when they came.
Hmm.
But those were like when you go to South America and you want to go into where those tribes are, you had to stop at the main port city right off the Amazon. And then you had to be assessed by the tribes. And then they tell you your character and your personality, this is where you fit in at, and that's where they send you. This the check-in spot. That was New Orleans for the Gulf.
Mm.
We didn't allow immigrants to come in on the Eastern Shoreboard. That was by force. They was not welcome to come in over there. That's why several boatloads of them got immediately dealt with when they got here. Because you wasn't supposed to come in, and all sailors already knew that. America, we didn't just start running into people with boats, contrary to popular opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The old Mississippians patrolled the Mississippi, the Missouri, and those tributaries in boats. This
Yes.
the riverboat gambling boat is the same type of boat they used to use most of the time.
Mm.
Then they had a couple of battleships for emergencies, but they stayed closer to the Port Nola. They wasn't constantly used like the riverboats. We used to have so much stuff going on the Mississippi River. that it looked like the river had a whole city on it, and we just be doing our stuff.
All lit up.
Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
all lit up. The boats lit up,
It's
and they trying to act like electricity new is ancient.
ain't nothing new under the sun. Yeah.
Yeah, we was using plasma lighting where you didn't even need electrical outlets for the bulbs.
Mm,
They illuminated stuff. But they don't want to talk about that because that they be talking about that's mythology of ancient history. But it's what if you look at they got so much footage from the World Fairs before they did mass demolition across the land,
that's right.
right? And then they were supposed to rebuild it, but they half-ass did it. Because we supposed to look just as good as Dubai or Singapore, any of them other
Yes.
places over
Yeah.
there. We've been paying for that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Uh,
most of us don't know that everywhere in the world is running off dollars generated from America, but they
mhm.
tell us that it's all coming from Africa.
No. Mass
You,
consumerism. We
they
pay for
stealing the
everybody.
resources from Africa. We paying for it out the pocket.
Mm,
All you got to do is go through the almanac and see how much money you get each country, and it's gonna blow your mind. Every country, I used to go through that. Every time I get a different almanac, that's what I looked at. Who was we giving money to, and why is we giving these people money? They never did nothing for us. But
nope.
are they even on our radar?
We paying for everybody's medical. We're paying for everybody's war material. We're paying for everything with our blood,
Yeah.
sweat, and tears. Yeah.
But we ain't paying for it willingly. We paying for it under duress
Yes. Yeah.
because we being misled in our financial philanthropy. We being misled by bankers that's promised to pay these people this after they wars.
The Gestapo, the same people
Yeah,
bombing up the Middle East right now. Yeah.
right. So you notice that as long as the Gaza Strip situation is going on in Ukraine. They
Hmm.
not fighting for Gaza. They fighting for the Ukraine.
Of
That's
course, because
Khazaria. That's their real
that's their real
homeland.
home. But they taking they're taking plane rides of the Ashkenazi or flying over to Ukraine. And while they're telling us that we're bombing up, Russia's bombing up Ukraine, it's actually a front because all they're doing is reestablishing their own home, their old homeland that they wanted to return to all this time.
The problem is that Putin won't let the Khazarians that's in the West Bank come back to the Ukraine. He won't allow it because he know who they is and what they do.
Mm,
So this what the war really about.
mm,
That's why they both going on simultaneously because it's the same freaking people,
hmm.
and it's all financed out of Switzerland.
The quiet town that no one
And
touches.
the Vatican signs the check for them. That's why they protect them.
Mm,
Pope's Hancock got to be on the check. That's why he had to issue the papal bulls that they wrote for him. The unum sanctums that
mm.
enslaved the world.
Why do you think they mentioned him as being partially Haitian? What do you think that identity theft was about? Because remember, bloodlines matter. So if they're trying to link him specifically to Haitian, which Haiti has some of the largest US bases in the Americas, and no one knows why, because they have all the resources of the vibranium, this type of alien material, metallic material that they don't know where it came from, and all these bases are in Haiti. But why do you think they're linking him specifically? What do you think about that?
It's okay. So they came over here to get a drop of blood
Mm,
in the great melting pot.
mm,
The prophecy is that the last pope would be a brother,
mm-hmm. Yes.
but they didn't say you wouldn't be able to recognize him as a brother
Woo!
because he got his one drop. Now
That's the
he don't
rule.
just tie to Haiti alone.
Oh, no, no, no. He's got
Because
several drops of other bloodlines.
his people came from Haiti and rested in New Orleans,
Mm-hmm.
then migrated to Chicago, to the South Side. the same Inglewood district,
Mm,
right? So now one of what we would call back in the day Hoover's boys is the Pope.
mm. What?
But that could only be true if you seen like rappers performing at the Vatican.
Hmm.
Then it might have some validity to it. Oh shit, the clips. I forgot. You,
Wow.
did you see the clips performing at the Vatican?
No, no.
Yeah, yeah. About a week ago.
Holy cow. Wow.
The clips performed at the Vatican. You know they got a video floating around of the Pope crip walking.
Stop. They not like us. They not like
I
us.
don't know. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's AI, but they got a video floating around of the new Pope crip walking.
Bet you he is. Whoa. Could you imagine?
Now, I just think of how Big Mama boys behave. And yeah, I know he got a drop of blood. And I know he's a Jesuit. And Jesuits is there on behalf of ISIS.
Hmm.
So that tell me that it's something going on of great value with this Pope smoke.
Mm, mm. You
He's the
gave me,
first one. He's the first one to be born over here.
oh, you're right. So that's a lay of claim to the Americas, don't you
Okay,
think?
now that coincides with they just put a statue across from the Hollywood sign of a drop of blood.
Wait, say that again? What they do?
Put a statue of a drop of blood across from the Hollywood sign. It's a giant drop of blood. Somebody sent me the receipt, and went down the rabbit hole with it.
What's that
But
about?
I'm gonna send you my post. I
Yeah,
made a post about
what's that about?
it.
The audacity. They are brazen. They're only brazen if we understand what it is, and you're about to break it down, surely. So, you know, um, hmm, a drop of blood.
Yeah, that's what they came over here for. Okay, so in these Sumerian tablets, Enki wrote the rules of eugenics.
Hmm. Hmm.
The rules of eugenics tells you how to repair defective DNA.
Yes, that's my
The
specialty.
great debauchery was people pretending to be God, messing people up in the laboratory trying to create slaves.
Yes, yes.
So the people that they created to be their slaves, we call them paleface now,
Hybridized people, yeah.
right?
Gene-engineered cabbage
Now,
patch.
now, when they created them, they denied a sentient being ascension rights, which broke galactic law, which created galactic war on Earth.
Mm,
So while we've been fighting the war under the pretense of this government versus that government, and it was never that. It was Enki versus Enlil and their children
a
choosing the
violation of galactic
opinions.
of treaties and right, you weren't supposed to break those contracts or create
Right,
hybridized children that had no ties to what do you consider ties to like a soul imprint or ties to they had no connection to being able to ascend out of here because every being that's soul has the ability to ascend as far as I know. A soul.
right. Well, they was creating people that if they get too intelligent, they shut down part of their body and start making it. The Stephen Hawking syndrome is what I call it.
Yes, atrophying. They start to atrophy. Yeah.
Right, because they can't cycle because it's a debate Dr. Francis Welsing goes over the defect in the cerebral spinal network of the
Hmm.
pale
Hmm.
face, right? And she's in a debate and it was on PBS. But anybody want to know what I'm talking about, pull that up. But they were had a block channel where they couldn't raise the sacred secretion,
Hmm.
which caused their pineal glands
And
to
to shrink and
severely
atrophy.
atrophy and
Hmm.
calcify.
Yeah. Hmm.
When that,
Thus, we hear the language all the time. They're obsessed with getting the th taking something for the pineal gland. Take this for the because, and they would make it seem like they put it on everybody as if everybody's pineal gland is atrophied. It would kind of like make it like a group thing when really it's just a specific group of beings that have that atrophied pineal gland, which limits their ability. They're capped with higher consciousness and the ability to ascend. Is that what you're saying?
that you
Yeah.
can't you can't ascend. You conscious, but when the ascension period come, you you stay back in the lower energy. You trap.
Mhm. Hypermaterialism, root chakra behavior, bestiality,
Right.
necrophilia. Yeah.
So Inky wrote that one drop of Anunnaki blood, which is the same saying one drop of black blood,
Mm,
will correct the defect. But
that's the merging.
it needed time to saturate,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? Just because they got the blood, they have to also learn how to animate the blood through arts and entertainment. That's why we wasn't getting Grammys and Oscars. It wasn't for us. It was for the ones passing to assimilate their drop of blood and appear to be something that they wasn't. Pale face.
Well, I just made a video on that, Rod, talking about make sure there's no children on the show. We're getting left a little bit. I was talking about the initiation that happens with brown men being able to sleep with lunar women. And it started with Guess Who's Coming Home for Dinner with Sidney Poitier, which was the alarm clock going off saying, okay, it's time for you to start to intake some of that DNA. And also for women, just based on my genetic knowledge, is that every time we allow a man to inseminate inside of us or take it in orally, we take on partially his DNA. And if we give birth to his child, it's even more. And I was talking about how lunar women will take on some of the aspects and attributes of brown women once they start to have intercourse with brown men.
Well, that's only once that one drop of blood is being activated. Most of the people that we think are pale face is passing.
Oh, you're right.
About 90%, if they've been in America longer than 100 years, that they bloodline, they pass.
Yes, yes.
Right,
Rudolph for Germany,
right.
the tall white alien
Now,
said that. Yeah.
be, before they was allowing brothers to touch the pale faced woman, they gave the pale faced man fornication rights by orders of King George. This is where you get your rapes on the so-called plantation.
Mm,
They was taking part of the booty issued by the king, right? Go out there and spread your seed. And they was and gave them. They was letting them do the most perverse things because that's who came over here.
well,
But they
criminal.
was
Yeah.
given permission to do it. That's why for a long time they didn't even prosecute rape
No.
because it was legal.
Hmm.
It was ordered by the king.
Mm,
It was the rebellion of the tribes that made them change the law.
mm.
You gotta see when you see them Huns and them women Mongolians with the red handprint on their face.
Yeah.
That's the bloody hand of the black glove.
Mm.
Silencing the women when they was raping them. That's why they do that. That's not just a something to try to say it's your culture. That's it's telling you a story.
Mm.
It's a whole story behind that red hand over their mouth. And this is what was going on contemporary with the time, and it's still it's heavy in the oral tradition. If you ask any one of them that weird can tell you exactly what it means.
Mm.
You got to remember the Boston Massacre. That's why they Red Sox.
Oh,
That's what the red carpet is. Everything I'm talking about in that post I just sent you too.
The trail of blood. Mm, hold on, let me share it with
Yeah.
everyone.
And the first person to die in the Boston Massacre was the first blood of the righteous Crispus Attucks. That's why they got to always tell us he was first to die in the American Revolution. No matter
Mm,
what, no matter how they whitewash history, they got to let us know he wasn't no paleface. Because you got to be able to identify the first blood of the sacrifice in order to break the oath, the conjure, the blood
mm,
oath. That was
mm-hmm,
the blood oath was made by spilling his blood
mm, mm,
by Scottish Rite Freemasons.
mm-hmm.
So they wrote the secondary constitution in his blood. It's in the George Washington Masonic Memorial, but don't nobody know that the reason why it's fading brown is because that's blood.
What? Aired out oxidized blood. It
Yeah.
turns
Over
brown.
time, as the blood fades, the spell weakens.
Wow. That's why they have to keep reinstituting new rituals and new blood rituals,
Right. That's
right?
called maintenance in the conjure.
Yeah.
Because it's for one magician by himself, he can't carry a conjure that long if he don't maintenance. It's only
Mm,
gonna last a little while. That's why when it broke down in 1812, it started another war.
mm,
We trying to stop war on the homeland.
mhm,
So the people we fighting, they bring personal homicide into our community and feed it to our children with like it's bravado.
mm-hmm.
Now
We're
they got
showing
us.
savagery and art and occults ritualistically being invocated and projected and propagated.
Look, remember they started off with cowboys and Indians,
Mm-hmm.
right? Bang bang shoot 'em ups, Western movies.
Mm-hmm.
They went from Western movies to um, theatrical performance movies with a leading man that was macho, played mostly by homosexuals like
Mm.
Rock Hudson, played these
Mm.
dashing and dynamic, attractive men on the big screen, but all the time they was getting some dynamic and active penetration behind the scenes.
Absolutely, as of all the heartthrobs, allegedly,
Okay. Now watch how they play us now. And now while this is going on, we producing Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad, Huey Newton, Stokely Carmichael, Fannie Lou Hamer.
mm-hmm,
The list goes on. Stand up people that's not taking it no more,
mm-hmm.
right? Then they go from there to uh, bank robbery movies and shootout movies and gangster movies,
That's right.
right? Them movies start dominating in the 60s. When the 70s roll around, it's inner city crime movies,
In drug movies.
right? Now, in black exploitation.
Mm-hmm,
Black exploitation was a last ditch effort to get some kind of codes to carry into the culture as it transformed into pop culture,
mm-hmm,
right? So, from the black exploitation movie and the gangster movies, they started giving us cops as the hero movies. Then, when we go from black exploitation to the hip hop era in the 80s, in the hip hop era, it was about family oriented
it was positive. Yeah,
shows,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And knowledge is in the music.
yeah.
90s roll around. There's no more those family oriented
No,
sitcoms now.
no,
They all about somebody single parent
yeah.
or struggling housewife or something like that.
Or
Doctor shows,
thoughtbotism.
yeah, doctor shows. And then now you got the boys in the street in our hood now. We not dressing no more.
No.
We don't want to dress what they used to call fly no more. We gotta get. sweatsuits, all type of sweatsuits. We don't want to wear
Uh,
three-piece suits, tailor-made suits, gaiters and Borsalinos and Dobbs. We not with that no more.
Wearing
This is
bomber
the new,
jackets. Remember bombers? Yeah.
yeah, all that's the new age,
Yeah.
right? Now, fast forward another 20 years, and now look what we got. The music is trash,
Oh,
and the
completely.
gangsters is running around in mini skirts with
Ah,
pistols.
I'm sorry.
We just watched it all unfold, reviewing history,
Mhm.
and this is what we come up with.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it, the sisters is complaining they can't find a stand-up dude. The dude fans complaining that they can't find a stand-up chick
Yeah.
because everybody was taught to don't stand up.
Yeah.
But
And
they
little
was taught
tolerance.
it
They remember they have short span of concentration too. That doesn't
and
help.
it was used with reverse psychology because every stand-up dude and every stand-up chick got cut down by the government
Yeah.
and classified, labeled as a criminal,
Yeah.
whether they
Yeah.
was or whether they wasn't.
Or terrorists.
Same thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm.
In America, the biggest terrorist in the world.
Oh, they're the kingpin of mafia Gestapos. Yeah. They still doing it now. They just, they're not really hiding themselves anymore, Rod. Do you notice that? They just being reckless and because it's the end of, it's the end of a cycle. So they don't really have to hide their hands anymore. Basically, they showing most of their, other than the things that they plan in more psyops that I'm sure we're going to see this week and next week. You know what I mean? But they're not
Well,
really
we were
hiding
seeing
too
enough.
much.
We were seeing quite a bit go on. Um, I didn't know what to think at first, but Charlie Kirk was staged.
But that was total
Um,
psyop.
that
Yeah.
was total psyop.
His wife is a
Um,
thought bot, geoengineered and contracted by Willy Wonka and his League of Doom. Okay.
mhm.
I mean, they got a pandemic coming out of Arizona that they just planned as well. We're coming out in a neighborhood near you soon.
And look, you know, Trump called all those generals in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what's your take on that? I heard some things. So let me hear what you heard because I'll tell you what I heard word on the curb.
Look, he was sitting there. He was like, such great generals, all central casting, great generals.
Like
He
control.
he telling you that it's theatrical, it's political satire is what it's called.
It is.
That's why if you look at Hollywood and DC, they're directly across from each other.
Mm,
This is why that one drop of blood that came up on that hill was significant because now that's called total saturation from coast to coast.
mm.
They spilt the blood in Boston and it finally reached LA.
And what you think about the federal government no longer giving funding to any of the most of these tribes unless they reinstitute rights and privileges and of the brown, the original native, indigenous, Negro, black, whatever you call them. What say you, Rod, about all of a sudden the federal government taking a
You gotta
yeah.
remember this, Floor. The only ones that the American government was taking care of is the ones that was willing to replace us.
Woo, I know that's right. And everybody else
The,
was on the Trail of Tears.
the ones who wasn't willing to or replace us lived in poverty worse than ours,
That's right.
worse than the projects.
Yeah.
And they constantly fed them alcohol because
Mhm.
Mongolians don't do well with alcohol.
No, they have an allergy to it, which is mostly blood type
They
B.
got it's a brain enzyme in the brain that processes the alcohol out of the brain,
Yeah,
but it make them more prone to become alcoholics.
yeah. It's and the side effect is euphoria, so that's why they can't. It's harder for them to stop. Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah.
Sad. And they knew that. They knew that sensitivity when they were coming in. They knew what kind of weaponry they would use against those people, those particular people. Okay? Because bloodlines matter. You know people's weaknesses. You can institute them, whatever, add to the Achilles heel and atrophy the original, especially, and they killed a lot of the chiefs too. That's another thing. You
That's what
disempower.
most of the lynchings was. Most of them lynchings was the elders, the educated,
Yeah.
the ones who would speak out and stand up.
Hmm.
They got us thinking they just randomly pick a nigga and lynch him.
Yeah.
That's not what they was doing. They was we had a lot of people that would pass our oral history and we get caught doing it. That was a death penalty.
Mm.
It's the same as teaching somebody how to read or write
Read.
under the slave
That's
codes,
right.
right?
Yeah.
So they was trying to they want to use that as the terror mechanism where they was hanging us and lynching us and fricasseeing us and frying us. All that was to instill terror in our offspring.
Hmm. It's in the cellular memory. That's why you can meet someone who's never had a dog their whole life, but they have a fear of dogs. I've seen it even in Brazil. Like people just have a
Mm-hmm.
natural intrinsic fear because in their past, their grandfather, grandmother were exposed to being ravaged or abused by that, and they carry it in the cellular memories. We carry a lot of information in our cellular on our cells.
Mm-hmm. They call it genetic memory because it's
Hmm.
passed down,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
that's what your DNA holds. It's like crystals.
Hmm.
When most people don't know, your DNA is amino acid crystals
Hmm.
that's making up the helix.
It's like teleporting messages through time, space, and through incarnations,
Yeah,
or procreation, through your offspring.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why by supplementing with a full amino acid complex helps generate the body, helps keep the
yeah,
body in optimum performance shape.
absolutely, absolutely. We're gonna add Dr. Rod to the roster. Dr. Rod. We will have Dr. Rod time. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
a that's a O in there. That's what I was known for my last 8 years of prison.
You have remedies. You were giving them some remedies, like a Chinese
No, they used
medicine.
to call me that because they used to say, I don't know, they just started calling me Dr. Rod.
So that's gonna be I'm gonna call you Dr. Rod now. Wow.
Started off Dr. Rod to Walking University, then they just shortened it up.
What up, Dr. Rod? See, I'm conjuring that. See, I felt it like telepathically. I like tapped in. You know what I mean? But I think it's
Yeah.
necessary and it's important, like as we talk about this, the importance of us as mothers and fathers, abuelas and granddaddies, that we fill our children with positive energy. Like the way that we speak to them, the way that we engage with our family, we can help to kind of generate positive um messages with through time and space through grandchildren, great grandchildren. We can initiate that because the world is going to do what they do, but we can kind of override it within our households. Our household should be like a healing center of like love, not being irrational, but you understand, just like love, understanding, peace, have your house as a peace, like a peace, tent, rather than letting all the negativity come in the house, leave that on the outside. You know what I mean? Kind of filter it out and regenerate positivity. So you kind of regenerate that throughout the generations.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's get to, wait, I'm going to ask you a question since we're on this. What say you about the Christians who thought they were going to um, do an exodus? They had this whole thing they were going to rapture. Wait, let me say it properly. Rapture, Rod. I thought it was very
So
interesting.
first off, who came up with the date of the
Oh,
rapture?
listen, Rod,
Because the book clearly said that no man know the
no
day or
man,
the
no
hour.
time.
So if it wasn't a woman that came and told us the day and the hour, it was already going to be wrong.
Say it again, Rod. Just please say it
As
again for us.
if it wasn't a woman that first came and told us the day and the hour, it was already going to be wrong. Because no man don't know. It
Well, that
didn't say no.
shaman,
It
well,
didn't
that
say no
shaman.
woman don't know though.
Yeah, but did you see that shaman? He was from, I think he's African. And I think they used technology on him. Because when I was
Them the
listening
worst.
to,
Them
huh?
the worst frauds. Them African shamans the worst frauds.
Mhm.
Anybody get in my be telling me they the Babylon, I block their ass. And I don't block people. But if a Babylon come in and tell me he the Babylon of this village and he want to do a ritual for me, block. I don't got no time for him.
Russ, boop, boop.
Yeah, I be having a block party. I be blocking like Mkembe Batumbo.
So, he said this and he had all these people I watched. Like I was interested to see because I personally think this was a humiliation ritual that he was the one who fronted it. They put some sort of technology on him, put some imagery in his mind. He really believed it because when I was watching him, I was trying to see if he was just being like he was placating or he was like making it up. No, it seemed like he really felt like he saw Jesus and Jesus told him the date. So he had all these people on his channel sitting there waiting hours while he was on live. It was so sad, Rod. I felt sorry for them because I don't really get down with that
Well,
whole,
I'm gonna tell you like this: from my life experience in 57 years, 56 years, the best liars in the world is preachers.
mm, I know that's right.
They lie with a straight face, with your soul on the line, and they selling you out to your face, not
Ooh,
behind your back, giving you misinformation that
mm,
they either know or should have known was misinformation. If they went to Bible school, they know they teaching you some BS.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
You can't go to the seminary and not learn the history of the church in that book. Once you know the history of the church in that book, and you come out telling somebody about a Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, you need your ass kicked. Now, some of them, like Chuck Missler, right? He he dissect the book, right? And he tell you this part right here, contrivance. They made it up.
mm,
He'll flat out tell you this is not in the original script. They
wow,
added this in here.
wow,
It's a contrivance. But if they ain't coming like that, I don't want to hear it. If they ain't coming like Ray Haggins, I was a reverend for 25 years.
wow.
Let me tell you what this book say.
You don't
If
feel
they ain't
sorry?
coming like that, I can't listen to them.
You don't feel sorry for those people who thought that sold their cars? You don't feel
Listen,
sorry for they sold their cars, Rod. They
what they needed some pocket change in case Jesus wanted to stop at Walmart. Listen, I feel for them. I just can't reach them right now.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. Okay.
I seen the whole church full of our folks out in the woods raising their hands up to the sky like they was finna take off and fly and go somewhere. And the funniest thing was because on the internet, if you want to get your feel, you go to the comments. Damn the post. You see a good post, go to the comments.
Word,
Look,
word.
the first thing I seen on there is I wonder if they gonna go home after this.
Mm, with dirty feet.
But seriously, the rapture is not part of the original Bible doctrine. When the Catholic Church came over here, wasn't no such thing as shouting in the church.
Mm.
That's come from voodoo.
Ooh,
That's a specific ritual.
interesting. Interesting. And that was added. Very occult. Very cool.
Mhm.
Like add a
Yeah.
little voodoo to the Bible. Add a little bit of that.
Most of Southern Baptist Christianity is voodoo concealed in the church.
You're gaslighting the Christians. Yes.
I'm just telling the truth. If they feel gaslit,
Booga booga booga.
light their ass up.
Booga booga.
But seriously, when you read the history, the AME Church especially, the AME Church was one of our biggest means of concealing our practices and our rituals, our
Mm.
customs. This is why every church got a church mother over here. That ain't no church mothers in the Catholic Church.
Was she a witch doctor?
She the big mama.
Oh, well, yeah.
She the real big mama.
I love that.
And she didn't get her rank from the church. She got her rank from the community.
That's right. That's beautiful. Yeah.
She went to church to congregate with her sisters that they couldn't congregate at their houses no more. They was breaking up the bridge parties in the attic because they was building alliances at the bridge
That's
parties.
so beautiful. Yeah.
That's why it's called bridge.
Ah, bridging everybody together, bringing them together.
Yeah. So they could tell you when the women went to go play bridge, they was cooking up something.
Yes. They were conjuring up ways to, that's where most of the well thought out plans were done in church basements and attics, right?
Yeah.
What I heard back in
Look,
the days, like,
if you go back to the witch hunts, the witch hunts was started from a melanated lady teaching yoni
Ichiban,
magic
Ichiban.
to to these pale faced girls. And it's another little later in it, they had another episode where when one of the ladies taught the yoni magic to the little pale faced girl, she went into a dancing frenzy. This is where your whirling dervishes be whirling. They be imitating the women when they go through this ecstasy. It's an orgasmic
Oh,
ecstasy that can last for several days.
oh,
And if she don't have a good priest around her,
mm,
she'll drop dead from exhaustion.
good Lord. A good priest to
Extreme orgasm.
help her along with that.
But it's an extreme orgasm and it can last up to
Good
three
Lord.
days. And she
I,
can't stop dancing.
well, I'm sure women wouldn't fight that nowadays.
And it's contagious because the
Oh,
mitochondrial is on full open throttle. And if
mhm.
another female come in proximity, it'll turn her mitochondria to full throttle, and then they'll both be dancing.
Oh, you
Then
said
they told the history books tell it that the whole city end up dancing, and most of them drop dead from fatigue.
from over orgasming. Interesting.
Yeah, you don't know how to turn the ritual off.
That's kind of like, but it makes sense though, too. You know how to begin it, but you always have to know, that's like reckless too. You should always know, you know how to start it, but you should always know to close out your rituals. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
the mitochondrial activation
I
in the
bet.
divine feminine is so
Yeah.
powerful when you get that. That's where they were saying touch the hem of his garment. It was touch the hem of her garment because only Isis was radiating to the frequency where if you touch her garment you can heal.
Interesting.
It was pure mitochondrial full throttle. It's like no brakes.
Yeah.
The mitochondria of the women right now got brakes on them. That's why half your DNA not working. They call
It's
it
true.
junk
It's true. It's
because
true.
they have your mitochondrial with this
Lockdown.
moon turned to minimum,
They
and
have a cap on it.
that's why you can't control your menstrual cycle on your own no more.
That's right. That's right.
You used to turn it on and turn it off when you wanted to have a baby.
That's right. That's when we're able to give birth to ourselves too, and through parthenogenesis at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was all the way until they put that moon there.
Well, the moon is what controls the women. Yeah. And it's doing a really that's why, especially that's why women go into labor as soon as that full moon shows up, it'll push a woman not even fully term into labor sometimes.
Look, we humans, and we don't even know that humans have three different gestation periods.
Mm.
You got the 7 month, yeah, the 10 month. Actually, they call it 9 months, but it's
It's
10
10
months.
months. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you got the 12 month.
And
The
they'll
women
force,
that carry babies for 12 months, they call that an elephant pregnancy.
uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, so they be telling us that everybody supposed to have a baby in 9 months. Everybody not supposed to have a baby. Some supposed to go into labor in 7 months. Some supposed to 9 months, which is really 10 months,
hmm
and then 12 months.
Hmm.
They normally the ones that's having elephant pregnancy. They normally induce their labor early,
They do. They do.
and that's so they can keep the narrative running that all women gestate for 9 months when they
We
don't.
don't. No, no. And the ones who were, as far as I know, like with the Cabbage Patch, if they're able to, I know they're just like rats that are created and geoengineered in a laboratory. They only have 2 or 3 cycles of being able to give birth to babies, and then they stop. They aren't able to reproduce. But I know with Cabbage Patch, from what I understand, their gestational periods are a little. Sometimes their babies don't even make it in the womb for 3 to 4 months or 5 months.
Yeah, they have chronic miscarriages.
Hmm. Hmm.
But a lot of that is biochemical differences
Hmm.
between the mother and the father.
Yeah, yeah. And they don't do blood tests anymore. When I ask people what's your blood type and they can't tell me, I always tell them the movies. Watch the old movies. What do they tell you when they say we're getting married? Let's go get a blood test. They want people to have chaotic mating because within that chaotic, non-chemically balanced union, you can create chaotic children, who aren't harmonic genetically. And
Let me
that's
tell you
bringing a
this.
lot of monstrosities right now in our society.
A lot of it is this too. You have bloodlines of males that if they not governed by a strong man, they gonna be tyrants.
Mm.
And there ain't nothing else you could do about it.
Ooh, tyrants.
Tyrants. You see it all the time.
Yeah, well, man.
And you could tell because they come from a strong line of strong men.
Hmm. Hmm.
Their daddy was always in trouble. Their granddaddy was always in trouble. Their great granddaddy was always. They not supposed to be raised by no woman by herself.
It's true.
Half the time, you need a daddy and about 7 uncles to raise
Uncles.
him
Yep.
because you got to test him. You gonna have to test him. You got to show him who boss a couple times for you to get him to pay attention.
Well, that's like, when you have dogs, I don't want to compare it, but when you have dogs and you have an alpha and you
Hmm.
see it within the litter, and that alpha is always like, like always testing everybody. The father, he's jumping on his dad, he's jumping on everybody. That's the alpha. We have that in our own gene pools, and we don't have any way to guide them anymore because we're
Humans
living
don't
in
want to admit
constraint.
we pack animals. That's the first problem.
Yeah.
That's why they break the families up because
Hmm.
they want us to rely on rugged individualism.
Yes, yes. Which causes depression, bipolarism, all the weird psychological issues that many people struggle with. It's from being lonely, from being outside of the structure of a commune, which is natural to most of us who come from a tribal base.
Yeah. You got nomadic loners telling us that we shouldn't live as family units.
Mhm.
Like that's like the stag buck telling the herd to bust up because he don't like the way a herd look.
Sounds about right. Yeah. And everybody listening to it. And that's why we have a lot of elders, all these old folk homes, which we shouldn't have. I think it's an obscenity. It's obscene that we have elder homes when my mom was home with me, there's no way. Like, we are supposed to live with our elders, we're supposed to live with our families, young to old. It's a balance within the equilibrium of the household. And it helps the elders to also create a need, have a need to want to be there. They feel needed. They fit into the dynamics of the family, sharing the old stories, giving the rituals of what we do in our family and our culture. They're in old homes. People just throw in their family in old homes. That shouldn't even happen. That to me is like why our society is also not doing well.
Well, the reason they created old folks' homes so that the elders can stop teaching the babies.
Oh,
Because you got to remember when the work age people used to work, the elders
took
and
care of the baby. That's right.
the teenagers would help the elders who couldn't help themselves,
Mhm.
and then they would help with the babies.
Yeah.
The girls learning how to be mothers, the boys learning how to be fathers.
Yes. Yes.
Right? The men teach the boys how to be fathers, Girls teach the girls how to be mothers.
Hmm.
We was more keen on teaching the women how to be mothers and the boys how to be fathers than we was giving them a trade.
True. True.
Because it's more important to have a strong family unit than it is it's something you can do around here. You don't need no job down there, Mr. Charlie Place.
Hmm.
It's enough for you to do around here. But we
Wow.
need you here because you the only one them boys listen to.
That's right. That's right.
So since you the only one they listen to, we gonna pay you to sit your ass right here with them boys
Hmm.
and do what you do with them. You teach them.